In this video, we'll look at the basic functions and features of the Multisim software, as well as look at how we can build a basic circuit within that software. To begin, we need to launch the software. In your tray along the bottom of the computer, you will see an icon that looks similar to a circuit or a circuit board. If you hover over that, you will see that it says Multisim 11. Double click on that. The Multisim 11 software will launch. Once the software is open, you'll see the workbench area. And again, at your leisure, you can look at some of the other features and functions of this software. We're going to begin just by putting a real basic circuit on here, and there's several ways I can get the components onto the workbench. The easiest of these ways is to click on one of these components. And again, any of these will launch this select a component screen. I'm looking for the power source for this circuit. Since we're working with a DC circuit, we want to have this DC power source. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to place it somewhere on the workbench. It doesn't really matter where. You'll notice as soon as I did that, the Select a Component screen pop-up menu reappeared. This allows me to choose additional components without having to rely on going back to this area to continue to pull up components as I'm building a circuit. So now what I really would like to do is put a resistor in. So I'm going to go to the Basic tab, and from there I can find a variety of things. The first thing I want to find is this resistor, and I can choose from the list of resistors a whole variety of different values and sizes of resistors. So let's just say that we wanted to have a 400 ohm resistor in our circuit. You could click OK and put that in the circuit. Let's say instead though that I needed a value of resistor that is not shown in the menu. Let's say I needed a 425 ohm resistor. I could type in the 425 ohm resistor and put that on the screen. And in a minute I'll show you how to delete that because we only don't have one resistor for the circuit we're about to build. The other very important component we need to have in all of our circuits is a switch, a way to turn it on and off. There's a variety of different switches that we could choose from. The one we'll always want to use is the one labeled SPST, which stands for single pull, single throw, and it looks like this. So we're just going to place that in our circuit. And then the final component we're going to want to place in that circuit is a DC ammeter, just to allow us to measure the current in the circuit. So I'm going to need to go down to where the indicators are and click on that. You'll also find in the area where the indicators are, there are lamps, buzzers, and other types of indicators as well, and also a voltmeter. So the ammeter is here, and we can choose from many different types. Horizontal will have the connections horizontally, where the vertical will have them vertically, which is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to place that in my circuit. And once again, the Select Component pop-up menu comes up. I no longer need to place any more components, so I'm just going to click Close, and it's going to go away. Now you'll notice when we did this that we did put one extra component in here, and I'm going to delete that by simply right-clicking on it. The software has now highlighted it with a blue box. What is it that I want to do to it? And here I'm going to delete it. You can also see by right-clicking on it, if I wanted to turn that resistor to be vertical, I could do that and change its position in the circuit. So I've deleted that resistor. Just to make it look pretty, I'm going to slide this switch over, slide this down a little bit. Now I'm going to want to connect some wires to this circuit. All I need to do to connect wires is, you'll see as I move the mouse near the end of the power supply, and the same thing would happen if I go to the end of the resistor, it turns into a small dot called a node. Once I have the node showing, if I hold down my mouse and drag, it makes a wire until I get to the other side where I get another node. And I just connected one side of the circuit. I'm going to follow that through and do it here. and similarly on this side. I now have a complete DC circuit. And you'll notice the switch says key equals space. So, and that can be changed as well. But by pushing the space bar now, I can turn on and off the circuit and control the circuit. So to see how our circuit's going to work, the final step is what's called simulation. All the way up in the top right corner, there is a toggle switch. And you'll notice that it says toggle the simulation switch. So if I turn that, it will turn the circuit on. I close the circuit with the space bar, and now you can see the current flow through the ammeter. And similarly, I can open the circuit and turn it off as well. The final feature I'd like to show you in this basic circuit is how we can also change values of components, say the power supply for example. The standard when you install it is 12 volts. But if you had a circuit that was at a different voltage, you simply double click on the component, and again you can see that it's highlighted with a blue dashed box so that you know that's the component that you're working with. And then you can change it either by typing the value in or by toggling this. And what this toggle will do is actually increase it from volts to kilovolts. Here I'm going to change the value to 6 volts. Click OK, and now I have a 6 volt power supply source. That concludes this video on Multisim and a basic circuit.